Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the market caller for today, the 15th of May, 2026. We're excited to have you all here. My name is CJ, and we're going to be taking you on today's market caller. Alongside me, we have Avi, Cynthia, Demola, and Lekon. Together, we are the VFT team that are going to be taking you through today's market caller. And here on today's market caller, we're going to be showing you possible trade outlooks, and we're going to be doing that in form of trades for the day. We're going to be showing you possible analysis on what we expect to happen today. We're going to be showing you a quick recap of what has happened this week, and then we're also going to be showing you some trades that we're looking to take today. So these are the things that we aim to cover in today's market call. And within now and the next 30 to 40 minutes, we're going to be able to cover that and give you heads up for the day and heads up for the weekend. We hope you enjoy the rest of the market color. Straight into the charts, we're starting off with gold against the dollar. Now, looking at gold against the dollar, like we have here on our chart, we will see that gold is taking a fall and it's doing that continuously. Although at this point, we might be expecting some strong retracement moving forward, because already we had a bullish bias on gold where we're looking to see gold hit some bullish levels or some higher levels on the chart. Right now that it's selling, although we already established a couple of weeks ago that, yeah, it's a clear sell, but we want to still see some more retracement on gold, seeing that things on the geopolitical landscape are calming down a bit. So we're expecting some further push to the upside on gold. If you look at the 4-hour time frame, you can see right here that gold has already hit a level right here, and this could be the level that will send gold back to the upside. So we're expecting that to play out, and want to see gold make a push back to the upside. And one of the levels we're expecting to get to is this level on the 4-hour time frame right here. Okay, so there are two levels that we're looking for gold from. We're looking at gold from. The first one is the one above, second one is the one below. This is our classic box pattern, which is our major strategy that we trade here at Value Full Trading. That's proven to be correct many of the time. So we usually anticipate trade to get into these positions. So for gold this morning, we're either expecting a rejection from here or from this level right here. So with that, we're saying we're expecting a buy on gold. So either it starts buying from where it currently is, or it sells a little further downwards, and then by next week we expect a buy back to the upside. These are the two things that we're expecting on gold today. Okay, so either of these two levels we just keep trading, because gold is sort of in a range, a wide range. So we just keep trading it using our strategy from the discounts to premium and from premium to discount. Right now we're at discount, so hence we're looking out for buys on these levels. Okay, now if you look at the 1-hour time frame, seeing that price has already made a push from that particular order block, it will also narrow down the order block to this level here on the 1-hour time frame. You can see that price making a push from here. We're expecting it to continue buying to the upside. So at this point, we'll be looking for our entry signature. First one had already printed. So the first one was around here where we have this evening morning star pattern, which is a variation pattern. So something like this, we are giving you an entry on gold this morning. And our target would be all the way to this level on the 1-hour time frame. Okay, so we'll be heading straight to somewhere around here. So this is going to be our target. But because the stop loss is looking a little wide, so we might just have to narrow it further downwards and just wait. Possibly price might retrace into this region right here, so that we'll have a tighter stop loss and a wider take profit. Okay, so this should give us 1:5 or thereabout. So we'll wait for price to get into this other block on 5 minutes time frame, and then we'll take our buy on gold to the upside. So this is the trade on gold that we're looking out for today. So we want to take a buy on gold to go ahead, take out all this liquidity, trade into this fair value gap right here, and tap this level here. This is what we're expecting to play out on gold today. Okay. So having said that, we would be looking at the yen pairs immediately. Now, starting off on the yen pairs, and we'll be looking at GBP, JPY, and EUR/JPY. But before that, we'll look at the yen basket completely first, before we look at the other yen pairs. Now, if you look at GBP/JPY, so if you look at the yen basket, first of all, you would realize that the yen basket is already making a bullish run. Okay, if you look at it from the daily time frame, you would realize that it's making a bullish run. Not so strong, but then it should give us some hint as to what we're expecting in the yen. The yen has been disastrous in the last couple of days, where it has been giving us very scary price action, but now it's looking a little calmer. And then we're expecting that the yen or the Japanese government will not intervene anymore in the position of the yen generally. So we might be expecting some strong moves on the yen to the upside, seeing that it has already given the sell-offs. We might just see some buys all the way to the upside and then maybe a continuous sell-off. Overall bias on the yen pair is a clear sell. We're expecting a clear sell on the yen pair because if you look at it on the daily time frame, structure is to the downside. It has a very clear structure to the downside, so we're expecting it to continue selling. Seeing how that with all the interventions, to struggle to break above here, we're expecting the sell to continue all the way to the downside. This is what we're expecting to play out by the way. So if we go ahead to look at individual yen pairs like GBP/JPY and EUR/JPY, you would understand clearly what the market is planning to do. So right now, we've seen continuous interventions from the Japanese government. We had it twice yesterday. That was first in before the London session opened, somewhere around the close of the Asian session. And then during the New York session, we had the second one. So it's very interesting what the Japanese government are doing currently with the yen. We just want to be patient to see what the overall outcome would be before we resume trading the yen. When I'm talking about the interventions, you can see the spikes. All the spikes here would not give you a good trade. You could be buying and then it could just spike and then consume all the buys you've made. If you go to GBP/JPY, you can see it. The original bias of the trend is a buy. You can see it from our markup here. It's a clear buy. And we're expecting price at retrace, giving us good retracement point, and then we're expecting the buy, but then instead of it to buy, it was just playing around these rejections here. So we are very careful not to take trades that will end up regretting at the end of the day. And if you look at it on the 4-hour time frame, you see the same thing. If you look at it on the 1-hour time frame, you see the same thing. Every instance to take a good buy, it's usually frustrated by this intervention. So like I said last week into this week, let's just take a time out, trade other pairs and avoid these ones for now. Okay. And when they give us clarity on what to do, we'll resume trading them. Same thing goes for EUR/JPY. You can also see the rejection, these strong rejections. Okay, it's not following proper price action that we can interpret, or that it's easy to interpret without confusion. So at this time, I'll just advise you avoid these pairs at this time, and then when price resumes normal price action, we'll take it off from there. Okay, so these are the things that we're expecting to take on. These are the things we're expecting to take on the yen pairs. All right, so right about now, we're going to continue this analysis as we proceed into US dollar and dollar related pairs, starting off with GBP/USD and EUR/USD, and of course, dollar index. And for that, we're going to be having Cynthia share her thoughts with us as we proceed into this analysis. Good morning, Cynthia.
Good morning, CJ. Good morning, everybody. That was a very wonderful analysis from your end. So we're heading straight to DXY, GBP/USD, and EUR/USD to see what price is doing and what price has for us, what we analyzed on Monday during the market color outlook, and what played out during the course of the week. So if you remember clearly, we're looking out for a sell to buy on the XY. We wanted a retracement to occur on the XY before continuing the buy on our end, and that was what we saw happening. I beg your pardon, let me just pull up my chart and then you'd see what I am talking about. So on the XY, we were looking out for a sell to buy, and that was exactly what played out on the weekly time frame. Of course, we're still looking at this region long term for price to trade all the way there before selling off. And on the daily time frame, if you remember vividly, we actually marked out this point, the left shoulder on the daily time frame at 97.912, shoulder sweep break, price return, sat at this level, right? Sold into this level, gained momentum, and we're seeing the push to the upside. Where do we speculate that this buy will go to? I'm seeing that we may see a clear of this high. There's liquidity residing right here, and we may see a grab of liquidity. So this buy just started. There is more room for the buys to the upside. Coming down to the 4-hour time frame, there's nothing to be confused about. The buy on the XY has resumed into next week. We're even going to see more moves to the upside, right? All we're concerned with is to see where we can take opportunities from, right? On the much lower time frames, like the 15 minutes time frame and 5 minutes time frame, we should be looking out for entries. We're not confused about direction. All we should be looking out for is entries. And of course, I use the classic box pattern for my entries. And based on that, I can't seem to find one right here on the 5 minutes time frame. Let's head straight to the 3 minutes time frame. If we could find an entry, there is none yet, but bear in mind that there's still more room for the XY to buy to the upside. On GBP USD, if you remember vividly on Monday when we said we're looking out for buy to sales on GBP USD, and of course on the weekly time frame, everything is still in alignment. We still want to see a push to this side. 1.24683, it is our point of interest to want to continue to buy on GBP USD. So we're looking out for more push to the downside, more sell opportunities all the way to this region long term. And on the daily time frame, if you remember very vividly, we're looking at this left shoulder right here for us to take our sales from, right? Price traded into it, stalled and stalled, and eventually we're seeing the move to the downside. The first take profit for me will be low right here at 1.31888, heading to the 4-hour time frame. Let's see what price has done. Right, there's been a break to the downside. All we're concerned with is sell opportunities. We want to keep selling GBP USD. Any retracement we see, we look out for entries to keep selling GBP USD, except otherwise there has been a change of character, break of structure, and retracement for us to buy. But all we're concerned with right now is sell. If you're looking out for buy opportunities in this market, maybe you just want to catch some little retracement, short-term buys, but all we're interested in doing in this market is to sell. If you see your entry signature, you raise it and take sell opportunities in the market for GBP USD. Right, and heading for entries, there's nothing for me here on the sell of GBP USD, but be rest assured that even into next week, we will be calling out opportunities for sell entries if we figure out anyone, and if we see any entries for the sell on GBP USD, we're calling it. We're not gatekeeping. We're calling it. On the weekly time frame for Euro USD, everything is still in alignment. We still want to see price trading all the way here. We should see a break of this low and then more push to the downside long term for price to sell all the way into one spot 06584. On the daily time frame, same thing right here. We were looking at this box pattern, price traded, tapped into it. We've seen that price tapped into it the first time, sold a bit, retraced, right, back into entry, and is still selling. This sell has just begun. We are riding this all the way into this low for price to clear the low at 1.14123. We're selling Euro USD, we're selling GBP USD. Just be looking out for sell opportunities, right? For sell entries. The daily time frame also, we've seen the break to the downside, right? We're just seeing that price wants to keep selling. We want to keep taking sell opportunities. Even on the 1 hour time frame, the break has happened. There's no entry yet, but once an entry plays out, be rest assured that you are in the right path to look out for sell opportunities and sell entries. If you're looking out for buy entries, maybe you just want to catch it short term, but we're ripe for a sell on GBP USD and Euro USD. Entries into next week, even into later today, we spot any, we call it, we go live, and we take truth with you. With that being said, this is just my recap on the pairs, GBP USD, Euro USD, and DXY. You should be heading straight to the synthetics market. Into the weekend, you want to take opportunities and trade the synthetics market. Pay attention to what Lakon has to say. Lakon, what are you seeing in the synthetics market today?
Yeah, good morning, Cynthia. Thank you very much. The synthetic market has been a quite, quiet for some few days now, and that's what we are going to see if the market is going to give us some weekend bread because it has not been printing the daily bread as expected. All right, starting with the 31S, looking at it from the daily time frame. We've seen how that price has been very bullish. As a matter of fact, sometimes on Monday we were expecting, because of this break in market structure and because we've seen price pull back to this level and come all the way here. So we're expecting price to come and take out this liquidity at this top here. Just as it did the first leg, right? Just as it did the first leg, the way it came to take out this one. Yes, this was the first leg, took it out and sold off. So we're expecting the second leg is going to take out this, then we are going to follow through to the downside again. But on Tuesday, the setup was violated because this was the high that we expect price to respect. Now that we already have that, price has been going very bullish. If we trace it all the way to past data, we have not seen any clear levels that price is trying to go and test there, because this is still a very fresh asset, right? And on the 4 hour time frame, if you look at it very well on the 4 hour, we've also seen that the bullish move is still very much in play. However, we've seen a kind of pattern, showing up on the 4 hour time frame, which we expect to give us more of a pullback, at least if it's going to be equilibrium of this last swing, which is the 50% of this last swing on the 4 hour time frame. So when we narrow that to our lower time frame, talking about the 1 hour and 15 minutes. So on the 1 hour time frame, we are still seeing that price is still trying to push further to the downside, like more we pull back. So I'm of the opinion that on the 15 minutes, looking at what we have on 15-minute time frame, which is the lowest time frame we are going to consider to take a shot, then this is going to be it. If we see price pull back all the way into this IVG, then we can easily take a shot, just a brief shot, and price tapping into this other block and taking out this liquidity, knowing fully well that to some extent we have some level of market structure shift somewhere around this place. Then our stop loss is going to be somewhere around this zone here. We are going to have our entry at this zone. After price take out that high, then our stop loss will be just this particular high. And we are targeting, remember, it's just 1:3 that we are targeting, which is going to be somewhere here. As a matter of fact, looking at 1:2, if 1:3 won't deliver, well, after 1:2, you can break even, but 1:3, we should see price do that for us, because what I'm seeing here is price coming all the way to test this zone, then we will begin to see buy opportunities back to the upside. As a matter of fact, looking at the recent sweep of liquidity that we have here, this particular move showing up around this zone here, then is telling us that yes, price is still coming all the way to retest and take out all this liquidity that we have residing at this zone. So that is going to be what is going to give the confidence of trading this sell. But if this sell comes all the way down here before coming to our entry position that we have here, then it remains invalid then, because looking at what we have here, I expect that when price get to this zone and take out this liquidity, it should pull back. But when price returns back from where it is now, if we see any entry around this zone, then we can easily ride it to this 1:3, or if you want to take out this liquidity with price. But I would advise just do your 1:3 and get out of the market, that being your weekend dose. All right, so that is that for VIX30, and for VIX75, it's also been a very quiet move on VIX75, starting with the daily time frame. Remember, all we've been doing on VIX75 for the past few months is that we are scalping between this consolidation. We've seen how that price has been consolidation in the whole of this zone. So all we are doing is sell at premium, buy at discount, stay out at equilibrium. All right, so that is what has been going on VIX75. Now, having that in mind, what exactly is the move right now? Where price is now is just trying to scalp the buy if we can follow through. Now, on the 4-hour time frame, you are going to observe that after price did the whole buy all the way to the upside, then we begin to see the sell to the downside again. Now, this sell has been happening since last week. We've been seeing how that price has been pushing all the way to the downside. Now, where exactly are we expecting the sell to get to? We see how that it came to take out liquidity briefly around this point, and that is one thing that has been the character of VIX75 in the last few days. Right now, you just see it take out liquidity and begin to change its move. Now that it has taken out liquidity, all we're expecting to see is the push to continue all the way to the upside. Now, on the lower time frame, starting with 1 hour, you are going to agree with me that we've not really seen a very clean and clear market structure shift. As a matter of fact, I want to see how that price is going to trade out of this particular zone here, because this is more of a flip zone for me if you look at it in respect to this zone that we have here. So it's more of a flip zone. Price, tap into that zone, then begin to short all the way down. Now, for us to agree that we are now going bullish, is that price is going to trade all the way to this level, and we are going to follow through. Now, I know someone is going to be like, what of this particular level that price has taken out, and what should we do with it? Yes, price has taken out this level, but I'm still of the opinion that let's wait for the next BOS, which is still somewhere around the zone. And if you are the one, if you are the type that really wants to, take it right from the onset, then you can just wait for price when it pulls back to take up liquidity from this zone here. Then you can begin to look out for your entry opportunity when price take out this inducement that we have here, right? Because I'm of the opinion that price have high tendency of coming to that place. As a matter of fact, if this does not fail, then we are going bullish. But I'm suspecting that is most likely going to fail. Reason being that price has not really traded above this high here. This is a very strong support turn resistance. So until price break out of it, I don't want to look out for a buy. But this is just a low probability trade for you if you want to take a buy position. Now let's look at it from the lens of the 15-minute time frame to see if there's any opportunity there, even on the 15-minute time frame. Now remember what we drew on the 1 hour. That's given us a very clear market structure shift. However, I'm still of the opinion that if you want to join, if you want to take the buy, truly allow price to trade all the way to take out this low, then you and I can begin, longing VIX75 from this place. But remember, this is going to be a low probability trade, knowing fully well that price has not really broken structure on the higher time frame. This is just a lower time frame. All right, so this is for V75 on the lower time frame, and with price take out this low, then tap into this last order block. All right, so that is that for V75 index. And lastly, I have this 15 1S because V75 1S has not really been given a clean and smooth entry this morning. All right, now looking at what we have, let's quickly go to from the 24-hour time frame. You are going to agree with me on this 15 on the 24-hour time frame. We are still very much, you can see how that price has taken out this low and given us a very clean and clear bullish structure all the way to the upside, But because of this sell move that we are seeing currently now, I'm still of the opinion that there's high probability price still comes a little bit to the downside again, which is much more clear on the 4-hour time frame. You can see price has given us the first leg, the second leg, and we expect this to be the third leg, considering if you feel this last move all the way here, price is already at the premium of the second leg, and I expect it to also give the third leg for the sell moving forward. All right, that is for it on the 4-hour time frame. Hence why we want to see price, give us that structure. If you go to 1-hour time frame, you are going to agree with me once again that if this candle closes bearish the way we have it here, then that's give us a some level of confidence to short briefly this 15 1S. And on the 15-minute time frame, we already have some level of market structure shift. As a matter of fact, I'm expecting this particular candle here to close bearish, and it has already done that. And looking at what I have here, looking at this low, I'm of the opinion that we can see very good, clean. It has taken out that low clearly. So all we are just going to wait for is price pulling a little bit back to this zone, and we can short to the downside, knowing fully well that it's just a scalp. Because yes, look at it on the 5-minute time frame, it's just a scalp. So allow price to trade fully into this fair value gap here, then we can easily short the 17 1S all the way to the downside. Now, shorting it is not a very long one, right? It's just going to be briefly somewhere here, and our stop loss above here, and just do your 1:3 or 1:2, meaning price coming to take out this low that is forming gradually here. All right, so that is that for the synthetic market this morning. All right, if you have any question, you can just drop it on the market color group. All right, so let's quickly move to the indices market and see if we have any opportunity waiting for us there this morning. Let's hear from Demola. Demola, good morning.
Good morning, Luke. Thank you for the analysis on synthetic. I believe we are set for this week. Anybody planning to make money during this weekend, you are set and you're good. All right, very briefly, we'll be looking at the indices market, especially US 30, NASDAQ 100, and S&P 500. But we'll more focus on US 30. So, beginning of this week, we had our analysis with US 30, where we stated very clearly we have two areas of interest, right? Which was this and this. In fact, by Monday, price was this triggered on Friday, right? Or is it Friday now? Sunday morning, right? And then by Monday, we're already up somewhere around here doing market color. I think somewhere around here, and then price effectively tapped into this other block here that's been tested before, and then rejected this level, used it as liquidity, and then from this second area of interest, we finally got that push to this area that I marked out. These are levels that we've marked out not even last week, like 2 weeks ago, right? So we had this level marked out, 50,211.92 level. And see how price got to that exact zone and did what? Started selling back. So there's every intentionality behind all the areas you see us mark. during the market follow. So this, in fact, if you enter from here, most likely you've broken even because this did already like about 1:3-ish before, coming to the taking out the level. Initially, what we in fact, not even 1:3, this did really well, right? Remember, we had our concern about this level here, that's on Monday, this other block, where I stated that we just want to see a break above this other block. Once price breaks above this other block, it's going to retest, and then that will be the journey to the upside. Of course, price finally did what? It broke above the other block, right? This is the break here, this engulfing, and then retested, but then we didn't see that push to the upside initially. So notwithstanding, I mean, probably let me do this properly. This is 1:4-ish. It's a good trade. Or let's say for every reason by 1:3 you're out of the market, this will be what it is. This is like this. 1:3 out of the market. But if for any reason you were holding up until this level because we, stated that we wanted to see price get into that level, then most likely you have been taken out. But then by the second trade opportunity, it's very certain that you will be in the market, right? And this one delivered without much drama. So we had 1:7, right? This is a very more realistic approach. Say, for example, you missed out and then you saw 1:4, but then because your overall take profit was 1:9, you didn't make any money from that trade. You would have made 7.6 RR from this trade. And remember, we said that this can as well keep pumping to the upside to go and create a previous all-time high. But that will be predicated on the fact that we see a range inside this zone and a breakout. But what we are seeing now is not that. Let me bring it to the 4-hour time frame so it can be clear, right? This is a proper sell box pattern, right? But the market is bullish. So we stated very clearly that if we should happen to see any range in this zone, meaning something like this, price just doing its thing, no clear direction, then we know that most likely there will be a breakout. And a breakout will give us that confidence to continue holding this position. But what we have now, that's not happening. So I'm sure many people will have either taken good profits off this zone, which you should have because that's our take profit actually, right? So why waiting for price to do its thing? President Trump and the Chinese president, right? They had a meeting. We don't know the aftermath of what's going to happen, but I believe very strongly that we should see the progress, the effect of that meeting into next week, and that should cause a rally. Everything being equal, we should see that rally happening, and that will now invalidate this kind of sell setup that we have here. I saw the sell setup, and then I even announced it, but then because of the fact that we are bullish, that's why we didn't have to take it. Right? If you took it, fine and good, that's good by you. But for us in-house, we are not even looking at the sell for now. We're more focused on buy opportunities in the market. Well, notwithstanding, this week we had a very good trade, right? Counting as -1R and plus 7.6R, that's about 6.6 RR, meaning if you leverage $100, that would be 660. If you leverage 1,000, that would be $6,600 profits made this week already. That's a good one for a Monday to Friday kind of trade. All right, on NAS 100 and S&P 500, I remember we didn't have any clear setup. Why? Because price is actually in a new area of discovery, so we don't know what can happen. We're just very patient to see price gives us its signal, right? We don't know what can happen. It's still very dicey. We are very, very much bullish, as you can see. Everything appears bullish here. So price is just using the closest area of interest, just keep buying, right? I mean, look at this other block. For me, I wouldn't have considered this other block, but price got into it and then boom, we saw the buy, right? The same thing is trying to happen now. This other block here, this one, tapped it, and then we are seeing that bullish move, although it's beginning to sell. We don't know what can happen. But into next week, this should give us more and better signal as to what we should do, right? Even more price action will have been printed by New York session today, and that will now be a key insight for us to take trade next week if there are actually trades opportunity on NAS and S&P 500. All right, on S&P 500, the same thing, and new price level, right? Fair value gap wasn't even respected here. Price didn't take out this fair value gap. We didn't use this other block here. Instead, it's used this one, and then we still have this area that has not been tested, has not been mitigated. So it's just in a new price discovery level. Anything can happen at this level, right? Price can literally come into an area of interest, and then from there just continue, or it violates it and then start retracing a bit, right? But nonetheless, we are not disturbed. We'll be looking more on US30, because with US30, we still have areas to clear, right? We still have new highs to print, and for those highs to print, it's reference back to previous area of interest, like fair value gap, other block closer to where price is. And we can now use that to really make good trade opportunity, right? You can see how we started everything and how it's going. So we still have ultimately this guy to go and clear here, right? And that's a lot. Once we clear this, we should expect some level of momentum also to the upside, like we have on NAS 100. Look at this. Look at this on NAS 100. So we should see at least probably 50% of this entire move also happening on US30. All right. That being said, thank you so much for joining. We'll be going straight into the commodity asset session, right, where we look at what we have in terms of the overall summary of what happened during this week. All right, over to you, Abigail. What's happening with the commodity side of things?
Hi, Demola. Thank you for that session. Good morning again to everybody who has been part of this amazing session brought to you by the Value Flow Trading team. So we're going to head into the commodity currencies markets. By that, I mean AED/USD, NZD/USD, and USD CAD asset classes to see what they have delivered and what we expect to see moving into next week. Okay, so as of last week or Monday, we gave a bias on these asset classes and basically drew out certain levels where we expect a price to either buy or sell from, provided we see certain confirmations. But for AED/USD, we said we were looking for a sell to buy, yeah? And we draw out these level points. This was Monday's price movement. This was the weekend, and then the POIs that we drew from last week into this week's price action. And you can see how price respected those zones. This was a resistance level that we had marked out. Price broke above, didn't give confirmations, eventually broke below, gave us confirmation somewhere around here, and it sold just like we expected it to. From our area of interest, where it gave us confirmation to where price traded to, we did over 90 pips on AED/USD. Over 90 pips was delivered on this asset class. So now that has happened on AU, what do we now expect moving forward? Let's go to the H4 time frame quickly to see what price is doing. Now, where price currently is, you see that a new sunshine has been printed. If you're part of those of us who have been joining the market color sessions, you'll be very familiar with these indicators. Once this is printed, we expect a temporary retracement in the opposite direction. Sorry about the background noise. So now that price has done this, I'm expecting price to, give us a temporal push to the opposite direction. I am not looking for buy opportunities. Buy opportunities that could do something like this. Buy into this zone. Either you break above and continue to buy in line with the overall structure point, or you hit resistance here and then, continue to sell. All of this is going to be clearer into next week, as this week is pretty much done with. We could see more buys today, of course, but from next week, we will be somewhere around here, I believe. So this is where price is now on the 1 hour time frame. We see that we've marked out new points of interest. Points of interest 1 being 0.72102, point of interest 2 being 0.70982. These are the two levels we're watching out for. I'm saying AU should buy, all things being equal, buy back into the zone before you either continue to sell, since you've already changed character around here, or break above and continue to respect this pattern and continuously buy upward. If you remember, this sell that we saw was because we saw a daily resistance zone that price was around, and we were very certain that AUD/USD was going to give us more push to the downside. So we'll see what price does from where it currently is. Now, am I saying that there's a possibility that price, or there's no possibility that price could just keep digging deeper? Not at all. Price could continue to sell from where it is without even retracing here, but based on what we've seen a few times, several times, we want to see price give us this retracement so that we can continue to sell if we've already not entered the market by now. And then moving to the next asset class, NZD/USD as well. It also sold, which is not surprising because AU and NU are like cousins and they tend to move similarly. So NZD/USD also delivered, but where we saw our entry for this particular asset class was somewhere around here. We said we would want to see all of these zones violated for NU for us to be sure that this sell is going to happen. So when price was doing all of this, we didn't really partake until this particular level point got violated, and this happened somewhere around here. So it got violated, broken through, and came back to give a retest, confirmations that the sell was back in full force before we now continued to sell, giving us somewhere around 79 to 80 pips on NU downside movement. So going back to H4 now to see, since that has delivered, let us see what is now happening on the H4 time frame and what could happen moving into next week. Remember, we'll also do a fresh analysis come Monday, so make sure you do not miss that session. Price has now sold, traded into the 4 hours trend indicator. Sunshine has been printed, so we are going to see a temporal buy of NZD/USD. And I'm using the term temporal because it could buy in here, and continue to sell or violate. So what I do know is that there is going to be a buy. Yeah, that is my stand for this current session. It's going to be a buy somewhere around 50 pips. So these are now my new point of interest that I'm watching out for on the 1 hour time frame. First one is 0.59338, second is 0.59143, and the third one is 0.58523, which is where price currently is. So I want to see something like this before there's either a continuation downward or a break above, a retest, and then continuous buying. Going to the 5-minute time frame now. We're not going to touch this time frame because we need to see price giving us signs. So what we could just do here is to draw out our new POIs, which would now be yesterday's high, yesterday's low, day before yesterday's high and low as well. Also drawn out. So watching out for this. When price gives me a break and a retest of at least this momentum indicator, then it's going to be more, confirmational bias for me to know that NZD/USD is ready to give us that buy. Then we'll now have all of these things that could serve as resistance to either push it down. But what I do know is that price is going to buy from here and come to this level at the barest minimum. So I'm expecting how many pips movement of this asset class, at least 50 pips buy for NZD/USD today. So make sure you watch out for that and let's make some money. Also for AUD/USD, I'm also expecting at least 50 pips movement. I believe we calculated it for the buy on AUD/USD. So also make sure you watch out for that and make some money if we see our confirmations printed on the chart. For USD CAD, we were looking for buy confirmations as at Monday's analysis, and USD CAD gave us that. This was where we were somewhere around here. We said we're going to buy and take our profit from this zone at the barest minimum. And price did that. It violated it at first, but came back to retest that zone and gave us somewhere around 47 pips of USD CAD before it came back again and just continued to buy. So on H1 time frame, Price has traded into the indicator, our trend indicator. This is where price currently is. Come to the H4 to have a clearer picture as well. This is what we have. Please don't get confused by the many indicators. I know that after looking at naked charts by other analysts, this could get confusing. This is our indicator-based strategy at the Value Flow Academy, and only our students have access to it. So if you would like to learn how to use this to also tell a story, make some money from the market, make consistent weekly cash flow, then sign up for our Forex Bootcamp training coming up the last week of May on the 24th, starting on the 24th. You don't want to miss that. So if you don't have these indicators, just take note of the price points, the price areas that we're looking at, and do that on your naked chart. Okay, so this is where price currently is now. Indicator has been printed, giving me signs that there's going to be, a temporal sell. And H1 time frame as well is also giving me more incentive that a sell is about to happen. So I'm going to pretty much just draw out my new point of interest. The first one is 1.36350. The second one is 1.37369, which is where price currently is. And then the third one is where we have our momentum indicator, which is 1.36977. These are now our three major points of interest that we are watching out for, saying USD CAD is going to sell, and the first thing that's going to stand in its gap or its way is this first POI that we have. But of course, we're going to have more points of interest that could also be in the gap on the 5-minute time frame. So let's zoom into that and see where we're going to be marking out. The same thing we did for the other asset class, marking out this zone. So remember, just take note of, we're not looking at candlesticks per se in this particular strategy. Take note of the zone so that you don't think, why is it so tiny? I want you to get the full picture of what I'm trying to draw out. So these are now the levels. You can also do this on your MT4 platform by simply clicking Ctrl+Y to have your period separators on your chart, so you can simply mark out the highest high and highest low of each day. So these are now the levels that I have marked out. These are the levels that I have marked out. I'm going to call them out so you can also write them down. The first one is 1.37344. Second point of interest is 1.37183. The third one is 1.37058, and the fourth one is 1.36818. If that was too fast, just rewind the live session so you can write it down slowly. Okay, so these are now what I'm watching out for. I'm now saying USD CAD is going to give us a temporary sell-off. Yes, it's either you break below all of this and violate it so that we know the sell is back in full force, right? Or you're going to break above and just keep buying because the buying pressure is just that heavy. So we're going to be watching out to see what these asset classes do. With that being said, thank you so much once again for joining the VFT Market Colors session. It is always insightful to have every amazing person with us as we look at the market. Okay, so we're going to call it a wrap here, but before I go, I'd like to indulge us to spend some time during the weekend looking at this market so you get more familiar with how the market moves. If you'd like to enroll for our training, which I recommend that you do, send us a WhatsApp message to 081 60 99 50 30 and let us show you how this is done the right way. With that said, have an amazing weekend. Cheers and God bless. See you come Monday, 8:30 a.m. on the dot, no African time. Bye-bye.